Hey folks, Phil B-Man here. Just putting the finishing touches on the rest of this card counting data, and I thought I'd preface this second episode with a couple comments. Firstly, I'm well aware that there are many other metrics by which queen quality should be measured, honey production being a factor, hygienic behavior being relevant, but you got to work with the data you got. And this mortality data, I think, is relevant at a time when beekeepers are losing routinely 25%, sometimes 50%, sometimes much, much more. If you're routinely losing a significant number of hives, trying to figure out if there's common history to the hives that are being lost, and if there's commonality to the ones that aren't turning up dead, let's find that out. So that's my goal here by counting these. I'm not trying to name names or run anyone down, but I do want to find out what's working for me and what's not working for me. Your mileage will vary, but you can take all this information on its face value. I'm giving you the raw data so you can draw your own conclusions and watch me as I draw mine. Okay, here on with the counting. Okay, now we're into the cards for losses in 2022 so far. 12 pre-19, 11 in 2019, 19 2020, 36 from 2021, and 63 from 2022. So overall loss is way down from last year. And now I'll have to sort these out year by year. Okay, here are them broken down into their lots. Saskatraz Lot 1, Saskatraz Lot 2, Foster's, Northern Queen, quite a bunch. Malian, only one. Northern Queen, even more. Konas, and there's two lots of Konas. Quite a bunch and quite a bunch. Okay, let me count the numbers specifically. Oh, and of my own raised last year, 2. So remember, these are losses. Okay, we're starting to get a more complete picture of these queens. These first 4 batches were springtime installs, and then the next 4 batches were summer installs. So installed in the spring of 2022, 7 and then 6 this year for a loss attrition on that first lot of 26%. 25% on the next lot, also Saskatraz. Foster's 21, and then get a little bit better at 19. Summer splits, the first 2 batches made with brood. And so some of what I've been saying about how great these broodless splits work, I got to eat a little bit. Northern Queen on 127% attrition. Malian 2%. Kona 77 total. Lost 13 or 16%. And then another later batch of Kona, 10%. Now, my observation is these losses, especially, these 2 batches, all the broodless splits were made with Konas. A lot of that was starvation. I should have been on the ball feeding those earlier, but those numbers are higher than the splits made with brood. Now, these were done first, so a word of caution about the enthusiasm there. It's unfortunate that it's only one supplier, so we don't know if it had been these queens or vice versa, if we would have better sales. And then, of course, my own queens, mostly installed in the spring, 5% loss. So those are queens installed in 2022. I'll now go back to the 2021 queens. Okay, results for 2021 queens. So installed in 2021, these ones in the spring. Those Buckfast and Carpathian queens came late spring. They were put into nukes, and then those nukes became hives the next year. And then summer splits, 150 in total. This is when that was just starting to get rolling here. So Strachan's cumulative losses over half. Kona 40%. Saskatraz 67%. These Fosters 36%. Those Italian Buckfast, now they've had a little less of a hard life because they were only in a nuke the first year, but 4%. That looks pretty good. 20% for the Carpathians. And then installed in 2021, 2022 would have been their first full season. 41%, and you know those hives were definitely affected by my high losses in the spring of 2022. They were smaller hives, and so that cold spring really beat them up. 41%, and then a later batch 16%. Interesting disparity there. And then my own really got pounded in spring of 22, and then lost 11 more this year for a cumulative loss of 31%. So, you know, some lessons there. You can draw your own conclusions, but I'm interested in getting more of them babies for sure. Okay, queens installed in 2020. We now have 3 years where they could have had attrition. So, according to this, only 2 of these Pope Canyons have come in, so 8%. That's pretty amazing. And then we have a second batch of them. A total of 11 have come in dead for 44%. Saskatraz, almost half on those 3 years. My mid-season splits, first year I really got going with that. 100 from a local producer. 80% of those are now culled out. And of my own, don't really know back that far. I wasn't keeping very good track of these things yet, how many I started with, but I only lost 2 now. When these numbers tail off, it's partly because, well, there's not that many left, right? After there was only 31 of these mid-season splits left a year and a half after they were made up. So, of course, you only lose less in the third year if you had your hard losses the year before. So what have we learned? Lots to think about anyway.